Hello, Peter. How are you?
Hi, I'm all right. How are you?
Yes, good, thank you. Before we go into talking about progress so far and how you're feeling, just wanted to say a thank you to everyone for watching and following. It is a delight to see the likes and the comments, and
Yep.
we really appreciate
Yeah.
them. So thank you. Got questions? What composer would you wish to have spoken to during the writing of your symphony? And you can have one alive and one dead.
This is sort of phone a friend, isn't it? Can I, phoning the composer friend, would I want to? Part of me would be going, oh my goodness, I'm going to talk to somebody really famous who's going to look at my music and go, Peter, really? That's not how you write that sort of music. Which might be exactly the sort of reason that I need to talk to somebody like that. Okay, the sort of people I would like to talk to, the first one is Bach. Bach fascinates me. He was very parochial. He lived in basically a small part of Germany for his entire life. Moved around a bit, but basically very centred in that sense geographically. Had a load of kids, 21 kids, I think. So there was a lot going on in the Bach household. And yet he composed vast amounts of music. Absolutely huge amounts of music. The music that we have of Bach's is only a portion of what existed, of what he actually wrote. We've lost loads of stuff that he wrote, and there's still loads of it. I find him a fascinating character, that he could write such incredibly profound music. I mean, not all of it's incredibly profound, but a whole variety of stuff with all of this domestic things going on, and the responsibilities he had as an employee in certain places. Bach was able, it appears to me, to write in a huge variety of ways. He could write music for solo instruments, for voices, for big situations, and in all of them there was a spark of something, approaching genius, I think. And I would like to see what his impression of what I'm doing is in a very different sort of situation. The living composer I'd be most interested to talk to about my composition is Steve Reich. Steve Reich is an American composer, musician, who is one of the so-called minimalist composers. So it's somebody that uses, we talked about that before, I think we used the term minimalism anyway, using quite small amounts of music, uh, small amounts of material rather, to create his music. I adore his music. I just think it's fascinating and absorbing, engaging in a way that little other classical music is for me. And it's this thing about music which is sort of going like this, and then it just sort of does that. Something changes very small, and something's changed. What was it? And it's just remarkable. And so there's a little bit of Steve Reich influence in one section in my music, certainly.
Do you have a favourite piece of Steve Reich's music? And then also your
Yeah.
favourite Bach piece as well?
Well, my favourite piece of Bach's is the St. Matthew Passion. It's a long piece of music. It's 3 hours of music, in fact, end to end. But I think for me, it says everything that needs saying about everything, pretty much. It is actually my favourite piece of music of any kind. Steve Reich, drumming. There's a piece called Drumming by Steve Reich, which involves, I forget, I think it's 4 or 6, I can't remember how many exactly, people playing drums, and the interlocking, the way in which the rhythms interlock and meld together between these drummers is just wonderful. It's very exciting. I believe he learned a certain amount from some African drummers before he wrote that piece. It's a great experience.
There's something quite uplifting about being amongst that sound.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I love that sort of sound. I mean, what Steve Reich does is he takes ideas like that, and then he subtly manipulates them. But I would be fascinated to know, actually what length of time did it take you? How many iterations did you have to go through of maybe changing this one or that one or that one or that one until you found what sounded really right to you? So I think I would love to have that conversation with him, because that impinges on any composer, how they make that decision about changing what they're doing.
We're more than halfway through the process of writing. You started in June, July. What has surprised you about this process so far?
That it's not predictable. That writing music is not something that, in my case, I can say it's going to be like this and it is like this. Quite a lot has changed along the way. So that's okay. I don't mind that at all. I suppose when you're creating something, you're always going to have ideas, initial ideas about what you might be going to create. I guess otherwise you wouldn't be thinking about creating. Certainly as I go along, I find, as I'm doing something, I then think, well, that what I've written there means that after this I need to do such and such. Certainly the structural elements, the big scale of the thing, what type of music is coming where, has been a bit of a movable feast, really. And I didn't expect it to be as movable as that.
What's been the best bit of the process so far?
I think for me the growing awareness that I can do this is a great feeling. I haven't always had that feeling while I've been doing it, writing this piece. There have been a few moments where I've very clearly said to myself, don't think you can. But, as time's gone on and more notes have appeared, I start to think, well, actually, I can do this. There is a sort of feeling of success in actually just getting through something which is quite long.
Who do you go to for feedback and critiques before it's actually performed, if anyone?
I will definitely play this in its sort of computerized form to one or two people, but literally only one or two. The only other critiques, immediate feedback I'm likely to get before the performance are from some of the performers. I might send the oboe part to the oboe player with a couple of specific questions saying, is that okay there, that bit? Seems to me that it might be a little bit tricky to play. Is it tricky? How tricky is it? Would you recommend I change it in some way to make it slightly easier? So there may be a few specific bits of feedback I feel I need from some of the performers.
Thank you, Peter. It's lovely to talk to you, as always. Any words you want to say, Peter?
I wanted to say thank you to you, Duncan, as well, for helping me through this process. It's been really helpful. And yeah, anybody that's interested in this process, I love to hear your feedback, what you think about both the videos that we're making and more specifically about the music that I'm creating at the moment.
Thank you once again. We're looking forward to speaking to you again in a week's time.
Definitely. Thank you.